Welcome to Restoring Childhood on the Same Page. I'm your host, Ryan Dalton, and today we are talking about Chapter 9, which is preparing for collective action. I have three wonderful guests here with me, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll start over here.
Okay. I'm Ashley Michael. I am mom of four, ages 6 to 14, and I'm also one of the founders at Plenty Bookshop.
Yeah. And I'm Lisa Uhrik. I'm a co-founder with Ashley of Plenty Bookshop, and my husband and I have a manufacturing facility that we work out of. We make bookshelves and for libraries and bookstores, and are involved in this kind of work across the country. And we have 16 people that call us, that are our grandchildren, and we're pretty excited about the work that you've been doing, Ryan.
Thank you.
My name is Natasha Calhoun. I'm a content manager for a marketing agency and also for Restoring Childhood now. I have two little boys, age 9 and 7.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for being here. I appreciate you all coming, but I also appreciate you on a deeper level. And the reason that I wanted you all here for this is because you all have kind of like been in the trenches, like from the beginning. The only person we're missing is Catherine Weisinger.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
And,
Catherine, you are so missed.
I just left her.
Yeah.
It was Franklin Circle. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But she's here in spirit.
Yes,
she's
wonderful.
actually, as we're filming this, teaching her yoga class at the library, which is very important and on brand for her. So,
Yes.
But with her and you all have jumped on board from the beginning, gone full throttle, just going for it. You ordered 1 million books. I mean, I don't know how many, but it's like every time I go, there's just books everywhere.
Yeah.
But all the programming, all the stuff that you all have done has just been incredible. And from the beginning, just fully jumped on board, full hands, full feet. And then it was actually the mayor that was like, hey, there's someone that wants to, help and be involved. She's in marketing. And I'm like, yes, please. So, and then you got connected.
I had no idea what I was going to do.
You didn't. You're like, I had no idea that guy would bug me so much. But yeah.
Your energy is
Yes.
really, it's exciting, because what we want to do with Plenty Bookshop, it's a nonprofit bookshop, is our desire is to aggressively support every good thing that's going on in this.
I like that.
In this community. And so with Catherine, with others, we try to get our shoulder behind. With you, it's not a shoulder behind, it's like running to keep up. I mean, because you took this book and a program that's just so beautifully put together, and your energy and thoughts and the way you put it together, it's exciting. I'm excited to see what Cookeville has doing with this, and your leadership, which just seems to grow by the day, and keeping up is hard. But we're working at it,
We were comparing you to the Energizer Bunny.
Energizer Bunny, and sometimes going over into Tasmanian Devil. I've tried to like hone it in to at least be productive and not rip things apart. But
you've got skills, and we're so thankful.
Yes.
Because it's really, I believe that we're creating a microcosm of change that is going to resonate across this country, and that what we've already done with the level of engagement that you've put together is something that is worth noting all across the country, because it's an example of community. We've wanted to do a community-wide read since we started Plenty, but when you came with this is the right read, and this is the place that everybody could find agreement, and everybody could. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And that's what we're talking about, is collective action.
I mean, that's this whole chapter. And I think that is what is the most beautiful to me about this. I've been a part of grassroots organizing and grassroots movements all through my even like young adult life, from my late teens. And I will say I have yet to see until now any movement that I've been a part of be so well received by everyone. It's bipartisan. It's not a particular religion. It's not any socioeconomic. This impacts everyone, and even people who possibly are not directly impacted are indirectly impacted. Even I think about Larry Stone talking about my employees. Like he's like, my employees are at the age that they're Gen Z, and I see these things in them, and I didn't know what was going on until this.
Right.
So it impacts us all.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to see how our community has embraced it. That being said, he opens the chapter by saying, when it is presented that we need to intervene in what is happening, this trajectory of this phone-based life, phone-based childhood, a lot of people say, I agree with you, but it's too late. He put that in quotes.
Yeah,
And
I underlined that.
yeah, me too. So yeah, and like that ship has sailed, that train has left the station. And I love how he likes his metaphors. I love how he immediately goes into and says like, yeah, but transportation metaphor, this is great because we have transportation metaphors for you. And he was saying an airplane that has left the gate, if they find out something's wrong, they'll call it back.
Pull it back.
The Titanic, when it, unfortunately,
Should have pulled that back.
sank, yeah, should have pulled that back. But the sister ships
That's right.
that
They
were made
kept
in the same
those
way, they kept them
docked.
from going out. And so I do think, and he gives some other examples, I do think this is our moment, and it has been powerful to see how the community has responded. And I do think we're at a point where we are at that recall and that pull it back and that moment. How are you all feeling about it? Like that specific thing. What have you seen?
This has been so exciting for me just as a parent. And I think that's part of, we're talking about collective action, and you have to have somebody, people who are willing to kind of get the ball rolling. But I think that this ball just continues to grow and gain momentum because there's been enough time that has gone by in this world of cell phones and technology to where we've seen reason for it, and really resonating with the idea that maybe it's not too late. I think I don't even need a whole lot of proof to be able to say I'm willing to try. I'm willing to because it's such a problem. It's such a concern that I'm willing to do whatever is needed to turn the ship around or whatever it may be.
Well, and you and Tony have, because of your backgrounds, he does play therapy, he teaches psychology, so you're very aware of these things, and you've been doing them kind of in a Lone Ranger sort of way, in some ways, or feeling that way at least, maybe.
Yes. So my oldest just started high school, and we knew, when she was first born, we knew enough to know, like, we don't want our kids to be on screens all the time. We really tried to limit, shows and things like that. And then when phones came around, same thing. So we've held out and not given her a phone until starting high school, but felt like we are the only ones doing this.
Yeah.
And so that has been...
That's been hard.
But we did it. We survived, and I'm really glad that we did. But how great would it be for the next ones coming along, for them to not feel like, oh, everybody has a phone, and when can I get that?
And the collective action that was just taken with, at the beginning of the school year with the pouches, and I've heard so many people say, was it really this easy? Because seeing we started seeing the transformation just right away of kids doing their homework, of kids paying attention in class, of the lunchroom getting loud because everybody's talking, of people walking through the halls and doing, and we keep talking about the children, but it's not just the children. But I'm feeling like collective action, at least these few actions, that one action that the school board took and that we invested in, we've seen a dramatic change. I expect to see it in the grades. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
Are you feeling that too?
Absolutely. There is, what I can only describe as this, which was kind of unexpected, this sense of relief. And not with the teachers, with the kids. There's just this overall feeling of relief, like weight off the shoulders. And that was unexpected. I don't know what I expected, but that was something that I was like, this is an interesting thing to observe.
That's neat.
And I think it is that. What he talks about earlier on in the book, the anxiety, that is that trigger response, like where he talks about the difference between fear and anxiety, and fear is a good thing, but you don't want it all the time. And they're walking around with this anxiety, like, what is going to be posted about me? Who's contacting me? What am I doing? Am I missing B-Reel? Like all these things. And now they just don't have the option. And it's just like this sense of like, oh, this is nice.
Even as an adult, like anytime I've put it, we were talking a little bit earlier about the settings you put on your phone to help you take a break or whatever. And in the rare event that I actually do that and stick with it, the relief I feel. But then there's also so much pressure that I'm sure the kids feel to respond quickly. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've texted you and said, I am so sorry. It's been 2 days since you text messaged
And I'm
me.
so glad.
And I haven't responded. Like, I was chilling with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, and you're always like, no, that's totally cool. But I'm not used to that. I think, oh no, someone's going to think that I'm mad or that I'm ignoring them or that I don't care.
That's probably part of the collective response of just, you know, giving
Grace to
more
each other.
time, right? To just say, you don't need to things don't have to be instant.
Yeah.
You know,
We can live life.
I was teaching adjunct at Tech, and this is over a decade ago. So this is right when this started, probably around 2011 or so. And students, and I was working a full-time job and doing a bunch of other things, and they would reach out to me. And if they didn't hear back within 3 hours, 1 or 3 hours, they felt like I was being negligent as an instructor.
Interesting.
And I felt like, 24, 48, 72 hours is okay, especially if it's not an urgent kind of thing. And I was responding, but in that, they went to the dean to complain that I wasn't responding within the hour.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about that because that was radically different than the expectation I had. And when you talk about relief and giving each other grace in our response times, I mean, what's expected? I think that's something that we adults can relate to too.
Yeah.
Is if we don't have this idea that I'm on all the time for all the people.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure as a teenager that feeling is amplified
Oh, yeah.
anyways, because
Absolutely.
you always think somebody's mad at you.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. And
Or
you're
they're
always
worried
mad.
that somebody's talking about you or they're mad about you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can only imagine how that would feel.
Oh yeah, and just sort of the inescapable aspect of that. And
Yeah.
so for them to be able to just lock their phone in a case and know that, like, even if I want to, I'm not allowed to do this, I think has been really amazing.
So I'm going to do something right now. I accidentally brought my phone in with me and I put it behind my back. And about every 35 seconds, it's giving me a notification that somebody is trying to reach me.
Feeling the anxiety.
I'm like, real time. I am feeling that. And as we're talking about it, I'm aware that having it in the room with us, and this is part of the collective action. What I thought was interesting in this chapter was, seeing the comments of Jeff Bezos and of others that there's two things. One, that this was not necessarily the intention to suck kids into this.
Yeah.
Just as you remember, or maybe I've always been a news junkie and doing news things, and I had an online newspaper back in 2007 when people said people will never get their news on their phone. And people will never advertise on a phone. So this was the problem. We couldn't get any advertisers because this will never happen. News. And then it all flipped, right? We started seeing people but I've always been aware that advertising drives news. The news media makes 85% of their advertising budget from political campaigns. And everything that they live on is advertising. And so when we started seeing clicks and advertising online for the news, it changed the news.
Yeah.
It changed what we see. See, that's still happening. I got to get it out of here.
It's okay.
Do we have any of those boxes from the store?
Let's bring in the box. Where's Barbie King?
And that's why it's not just for the children. It's for all of us. But what's interesting in this chapter, when we talk about collective action, is we could have somehow changed this game. Because as long as people are the product and likes and views are the product, the algorithms, everything's going to continue to drive it this way.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to stop it. That doesn't mean the train's left and we can't turn it around.
No.
It just means that we've got to fundamentally shift this, like we did with seatbelts.
Yeah, and I think it might require a deeper fundamental shift in our culture and our society, because we are such an individualistic society. We've lost that sense of culture. Sense of community to some degree as a part of our culture. And some of us have it in these kind of little micro things, but even what he speaks about is like, we've lost that sense of when I go to the store. If I had to, as a single dad, I remember I'm up at the register and I remember one thing I forgot. And if I were to say to the person behind me, hey, I'm just going to run there, stranger,
Right.
I'm going to run and go grab something. Can you just watch my kids? That would be frowned upon these days.
Right.
But that
You
used
could
to not
maybe
be.
get reported.
Yeah, they could
Maybe
literally
like
report
neglect
me.
or
Yeah.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
But that sense of connection, that
Yes.
sense of community, we've lost that. And then to this sort of thing of we'll never be able to do this, we're in too deep. On 222, he says, each of us acting alone perceives that it's too difficult or too costly to do the right thing. But if we can act together, the cost goes way down.
Yeah.
And I love that idea.
I had that one highlighted as well.
Yeah, say twinsies. But yeah, like if we, sorry. But yeah, today was, anyways. So I like the idea that it is costly alone. If we're going at this alone,
Yeah.
we're going at this like by ourselves.
It's
it
a
does feel
huge
overwhelming.
expense of our energy, I
Yeah.
think, because you're just this tiny little dot going against the stream.
Well,
And yeah, to feel, I mean, that's where, I mean, I got so excited when you sent your proposal way back, in the summer, because I thought, this is great. Like, there are other people, and we know, I think we know there are other people that want to do the same thing, but this book has sort of helped forge a path, and hopefully we're helping forge a path for the rest of our nation.
It's interesting that you talk about the aloneness, because the isolation is one of the problems of our times, right? I mean, isolation is where we are, and we are at a 100-year low. You have to go back to 1927 to find the same level of social participation that we have today. And social participation it was at an all-time low in the 1920s. And then we started, after World War II, we started being in clubs and communities and participating with our churches and being on all these collective things where we knew each other, and which is what we've been trying to do with Plenty, having book clubs, and I mean, over 400 different kinds of gatherings and workshops and all those last year. And I spoke to the Rotary during this process and said, you're saving lives, because this is the fabric of our community, is coming together. And when we do come together in groups and we do consider ourselves joiners and rethink that, I'm not really a joiner, that's not just you, that's all of us now. And we need to rewire that. But when we do start joining with each other, then it becomes way easier.
Absolutely.
And that's what you've demonstrated with just getting us all in a coalition and collection and all those kind of things.
And like
Yeah.
constantly annoying you until you do.
It's a gift.
It's a gift. Well, no, they've got on page 228, we need to change the incentives so that companies behave differently, as happened with many other industries. Think of food safety regulations in the progressive era, or automotive safety in the 1960s. So, and both of those were contributing to long-running declines in children's mortality, which is what we're seeing here with, when you look at 1 in 4 young girls feeling like that they're so anxious that they consider taking their lives. Addiction ends in death.
Yep.
That's the pattern.
Yeah.
So, but we changed the game, and food safety was that, and automotive safety was that. So I love that, changing that idea.
Well, and that kind of goes in well with on page 222. He's talking about Alexis Spence, and he says Alexis Spence explained to me why she was so desperate to get an Instagram account in 6th grade, despite her parents' prohibition. And she said, this is Alexis speaking, what made it so addictive was that I wanted to fit in with my peers. I didn't want to miss anything, because if I missed anything, then I was out of the loop. And if I was out of the loop, then kids would laugh at me or make fun of me for not understanding what was going on, and I didn't want to be left out. I think about this a lot when it comes to collective action and why it's so important. And especially in the brain rot middle school era that we're in, where these like TikTok sound, like the 6, 7, and all these things. Like, I don't know if you all even know about this stuff. If you don't, please, you're good, better for it. But there's all these like lines that the kids will just blurt out. Yes, brother, 6, 7, like all these things. And the kids who don't know what's going on
Then
are like,
it's
they
a whole
feel
language.
left out.
Right.
Yeah. But like kind of on the other side of it, if we start to build these pockets of families who are committing to waiting, like his kind of three things, well, no phone school, but then waiting till ninth grade to introduce smartphones and waiting till 16 for social media, then we see groups of kids who, at least pockets of kids, who won't be left out in this and won't feel like this girl who felt pressure in sixth grade to get on Instagram.
Well, and that's why the alternative activities are so important. That's why the book clubs, and that's why the puzzle making, and that's why the workshops and the outdoor things, because it's not about what you're not doing or not seeing, it's about what you are doing. You know, all of these very fun things, and then they can invite other people to join them. So, you know, nature hates a vacuum. So just stopping something isn't enough, but we got to start these other things too. And that's why your proposal has, you know, included so many community events.
Yeah.
You know. Really cool thing.
And for us, and this kind of goes back to the timing of when I found out about this, which I was sitting on my couch scrolling.
As we do.
But it was just funny because I had really felt alone in my thoughts about all of this.
Yeah.
You know, me and everyone in my friend group all kind of have different screen time rules and different values when it comes to that. And I really felt like the only one who was being like, am I being too conservative about this? And I was talking to my husband, and this was before I even saw about restoring childhood. I said, hey, there's this book I've seen talked about. I'd really like you and I to read it together. And he was already a fan of the author because he read the
Coddling of American Mind.
So he was like, yes, I'm all in, I'll read it. And then it wasn't a week later that I saw Lauren when he had shared this. And I was like, that's it, I'm in. This is the sign. This is what I needed, because I just felt alone. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need other parents who are going to agree with me in this and come alongside me. And that's too, I think, what I really hope for my small group study that's also been doing this together is that, you know, at least I know, okay, I've got 15 people in this group. We're all on the same page. We know the science, we understand the statistics, and I can say, so-and-so also doesn't have a phone buddy. You know, and they start asking me.
Well, and it's difficult not to shame anybody or not to that's making a different choice or that isn't, but to get into, that's why reading this together is so important. Is like, let's come along together and understand this together, so that it doesn't feel like we're judging somebody for making a different choice, but we're inviting people to make a choice not to be in this technology and to really think about what's happening, and everybody's seeing it. I mean, it's just, it's so incredibly obvious that it's really a great thing that's resonating.
Well, and I don't, and I say this a lot, like, I don't think any parent actively like had ill intentions introducing any type of device to their kid. I mean, and it's easy. I'm a single dad. There are times where I need my girls to be safe and sitting somewhere where I can like take a shower, you know, and just know that they're not going to be ripping down the whole, you know, house in that time. But it is that sort of thing that happens, and it does feel, I think, for a lot of people that we are in too deep. Like you have a middle schooler, you've already given them a cell phone. What now? But I think to emphasize it is the power in our collective action, but also just like simple steps. You don't have to necessarily take the phone and make your kid go cold turkey, but if you decide to do that, that's great for you. But this movement isn't about judgment. It's not about pointing fingers and being like, you're making the wrong choice. You're not doing the right thing. It's about saying like, here's some really good information. Let's read it together. Let's make a decision together that is more healthy for us as a collective.
And I love the success stories I'm hearing, and the family stories I'm hearing, and the things we're getting to see at the bookshop. I was having a conversation with somebody, a teacher, she's a first kindergarten teacher, and she was talking about you know, that even there, seeing the cell phones and the effects of the cell phones, but the kids being loud, and then if she turned on a movie or if she turned on some kind of that it was like whoop. And she said it's so powerful that it's such an easy button to go, I need them to be quiet. We're going to go to media, and to find ways other than media to create that same thing. And she was challenging herself to do that, and then finding that easy too. But she was seeing how dependent she had become, and kind of having a conversation with herself. Like, I don't want
Right.
to go to that. I want to find something else to help them quiet themselves and help them be different. So it's exciting, and I think collective action is about building on the successes of each other. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's lots of those.
And I think it's also even questioning everything. Because you say that, and I think about, as a teacher in the school system, how reliant we've become on technology. And technology is not a bad thing in and of itself. But a lot of the kids spend a large portion of their day on a screen. And I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
And so getting to a point where we're questioning even that, and,
The research shows that we absorb 10 to 15% less on a screen than we do in a physical book. But we've moved completely away from textbooks. Almost. I don't know. Do you have textbooks anymore?
We have some. Yeah, we do have
Okay.
textbooks. But even like, for instance, the ELA program is like we have a textbook like that you can use as well, but it's all on the computer as well.
Okay. So, and I have a granddaughter who was reading The Outsiders, and they were reading it together. They didn't read the whole book, but as they were playing it in the classroom. So there's the audiobook.
Oh, the audiobook.
The
I see.
audiobook.
Yeah.
So the reading was really listening to the audiobook, which is not the same as reading. Audiobooks are great, but you can also do other things. It doesn't, if you looked at an MRI on what's happening to your brain when you read, it's lighting up all over the place. If you look at your MRI when you're using ChatGPT, you get like one little dot. Or if you're you're on social media, it's the same as opening a can opener. Or using a can opener. So using a can opener, social media, same brain activity. Reading, it's like a great big hug. It's like something else. So, that's one of the things to think through from an education standpoint too, is our use of screens and of what, because if they're using screens all day, then they go home.
7 to 9 hours after that.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
I'm glad you brought up earlier that the fact that like you don't feel the pressure to respond immediately to a text, like, and you can always know anytime. You can take weeks. You can also never respond. Also because this is volunteer work, so at the moment I'm not paying you. We can say that out there. But on just the human level, it is quite refreshing, actually, to me. I don't take it as like you're like, oh, this guy again, whatever. Even if you are doing that, you don't have to tell me. But it's refreshing to not. I don't know. It doesn't happen as much, and it's refreshing to go.
Well, the
hours,
pressure to
days.
be immediately available to all people is just impossible. I mean, it's impossible for all of us, and that's an anxiety. Even though it's generational, we're looking. That's anxiety producing at all levels.
Yeah, and I'm very much, as you all said, Energizer Bunny or hyperactive, however you want to word it, whether it's positive or negative.
Focus.
But my brain is constantly firing, and I'll have an idea and I'll text it. Oh, how about this? Like, let's do this Halloween thing. I don't necessarily need a response right in that moment, but we have grown accustomed in the society where people feel that pressure. Like, oh, he texted me, I have to immediately respond.
Well, when you sent the Halloween thing out, I was like, trick-or-treating, restoring, risky play and getting communities involved as a neighborhood and all of those things. I thought that's a really good idea, but I needed to sit on it for a little while. I needed to germinate and to think about what is it that we could do at Plenty? What is it that we can do to support that? And it's important to give ourselves that pause, I think.
I think so. And we've taken the pause out of this with this, like, whether it's like when I was a kid, I think when most of us were young, but definitely when I was a kid, I'll speak for myself. But conversations could just end with like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, let's Google it.
Right.
It's like, if only we could know.
There is always an answer.
There's always an answer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and just like not navigating for ourselves has taken away or is taking away, it's eroding our ability to sort out, are we going north or south? Are we going east or west?
Yeah.
We're just following the blue line.
Yeah.
So asking questions and saying, I'm not going to go to the phone for that answer. I'm going to live in I don't know.
Yeah.
for a minute, that's good for our brains.
Absolutely.
It's good exercise for our brains at every level to use that and to turn off the navigation sometimes.
Yeah.
And to go like, I can get here without it. There's just all sorts of insidious ways that our dependence on technology is affecting us. So, and it's something that we can do something about. So,
Yeah. I have a confession. I even use my maps when I'm driving around Cookville just to make sure I go the fastest way.
Yes,
I know people
do
that
it
do
too.
that. Yeah. and I mean, I think that there's that thing as well. We are not saying throw all technology out the window. Technology is very helpful. I keep using the example of very basic but amazing technology of my coffee maker that I can set the alarm and the coffee is made before I wake up. That's game changer for me.
great
If I wake up
technology
to
right
the
there.
smell of coffee, it's
Yeah.
going to be a good day. And that's every day. Technology is great, but it gets down to, is it using us or are we using it? And
Right.
in many ways it's using us, and that's what we have to curb. And it's what I think we can do as a community, say, no, we're going to not let this go any further.
it's going to take a lot of intentionality, continued intentionality. We're thinking, and I want to talk with you about some ideas about what's next
Yeah.
after this study, because I think there are some things that we could do as a community in a next step that are even more exciting than the things we're doing right now.
Awesome. Can't wait.
So that's because it isn't only about what we're stopping doing, but what we're starting to do in its place.
Absolutely.
And
And
that-
this
that
is the
excites
starting
me.
point.
Yeah.
This is where we're starting, and it's only, launch pad. So, well, we have run out of time, and I'm sure we could talk for days about this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's continue to talk.
Yeah, we will. Just not here. Sorry.
Just not here.
Sorry to leave you out. But yeah, thank you so much for all you've done. I mean, you know what all the stuff we've had to go through. And then you all have gotten on board, from the beginning. I really appreciate it.
We have
And
loved it.
all the things
Thank
you've
you.
done.
You are living our dream and enabling and just the best illustration that we could have hoped for at the purpose of Plenty in bringing book culture and bringing culture and supporting. I love talking about this middle school teacher that just has lit the world on fire, and that we had the privilege of helping is a really nice thing.
Well,
Awesome to
thank
be
you.
part of it. It really
Thank
is.
you. Thank you. And thank you for helping us get on the same page. Had to get the dad line in there.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. All right. That's it.